Stephanie. So recently, you had your kids for the weekend, and your kids were found unattended in the other room by your ex-husband, and you were found in the living room, passed out drunk with a bottle on the floor. Your husband said that he would take full custody of the kids if you didn't come in for an evaluation. You love your kids and don't want to lose custody, and you're scared that he's going to take them from you.
Yeah, that was really scary when that happened last week. I just can't believe I did that.
So you're feeling very afraid and ashamed and embarrassed.
Absolutely. I feel terrible.
Okay. So is there another time that your husband has mentioned anything about your drinking? And if so, what has he said?
Well, there was a time around Christmas where he got really mad at me and told me that if I didn't figure out my drinking, he was going to make darn sure I never got to see the girls again.
So that must have been very frustrating for you.
It was, and it was also really scary.
And really scary. So can you tell me more about what happened that day?
Yeah, it was right before Christmas, there's a lot of Christmas parties, and a friend was having a get-together to celebrate the holidays, and so I went to that. I was just trying to have a good time and get into the holiday spirit.
So you were at a pre-Christmas party with your friends and trying to enjoy yourself and have a good time. So what else happened that day? I was just, like I said, trying to have a good time. I didn't have the girls that weekend. My husband and I are separated right now, of course, and so I just wanted to do something to kind of use up my time, because I was done Christmas shopping. I was already decorated. I was all ready to go. So you were looking for something else to enjoy your time doing.
Yeah, sitting at home alone's not very fun when I don't have the girls. I really miss them when they're not with me.
Yeah, and that must make you really unhappy.
It does. It makes me really sad.
So what was it that you found to do that day that was different from what you would normally do?
Well, normally I would go to work, but it was a weekend, so I didn't have work to do. And so when my friends called me and invited me to come over, I thought, well, that would be nice to get to socialize and spend some time with my friends, and then I, wouldn't be alone and wouldn't be, just kind of sitting there watching Netflix or whatever by myself. I thought that would be a nice diversion.
So you were happy because you were going to be involved with your friends and have something else to do beyond the normal. So what was it that your husband had said about that day that was an issue for him?
Well, so I'd gone to the party, and they had alcohol. They were serving sangria because they were trying to be festive and do something different. And I thought, oh well, I'll try that, and just have one small taste and see what it was like, because I've never tried it before.
So you were looking to just have one drink of sangria just to try it out.
Yeah, just a little tiny little taster, like a shot. Not a whole lot, but it was really good. I'd never had it before, and it was really tasty.
So you were enjoying yourself.
I was, and I was starting to relax and just kind of, letting go of everything that was worrying me. Just really enjoying myself.
So what ended up happening next?
I tried the sangria and I really enjoyed it and thought, well, it'll be safe for me to have, 2 glasses, like 2 wine glasses. They're all like 5 ounces or something little like that. So I thought that would be a safe amount for me to have, because I was eating too, and I wasn't planning on leaving right away. I thought I would stay a little while. So that was kind of my plan.
You felt comfortable about having 2 drinks after that?
Yeah. That's a normal amount that anybody would have socially and would be appropriate.
Sure. So what did your husband say was the issue with having 2 drinks?
Well, he didn't have an issue with the 2 drinks. When he got mad was when he came over Sunday morning with the girls so that we could visit. I was on the couch and I vomited all over myself and the couch and the floor, and big mess, and he smelled the alcohol, and that's what upset him.
You are mortified.
Oh, absolutely. I did not want my children to see me that way. It was terrible. It was terrible.
So he came the next morning and had found you with vomit everywhere on the couch, and your children were there.
Yes.
And your children saw you, and that must have been really devastating.
It was just horrible.
So what did he say to you?
Well, at that point, he ushered the girls out of the room, said, hang on, Mommy's not feeling well, I need to help her. And he looked at me and he said, you listen here, Stephanie. This is not okay. Your girls need you to be a good example, and if this is how they see you when you come over, you're not being a good example to them.
So that must have been infuriating for you.
It was. I mean, for him to make that accusation that I'm not a good example to my daughters just because I had one night of fun was just not okay.
So you considered, so your original intent the night before was just to try the sangria, but then you started feeling comfortable with it and decided, well, I'll have two. And then somehow it went from two drinks of sangria. What happened after the two drinks of sangria that caused you to wake up the next day covered in vomit, passed out?
Well, what I think happened was that I must have had way more than two. I probably had 7 or 8 glasses of sangria, and that's quite a bit.
So you think you had 7 or 8 drinks total that evening?
Yeah, that's probably closer to what I really did.
Okay. So, but your original intent was just to have the 2 after the tester, but then you ended up having 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then you woke up the next day covered in vomit from drinking 7 or 8.
I did. And my girls saw me. Oh, and my husband, my husband is mad at me and just, it's just terrible.
So you were feeling really bad.
I was. I mean, it's just not at all what I wanted.
So what did your husband say after he found you? He said that. Can you explain that to me again?
Sure. Yeah, he told me about how I need to be a good role model for the girls, and that going out drinking and coming home and getting sick like that from drinking too much is not a good example, and that if I didn't clean up my act, and if I didn't get my drinking under control, that he was going to be darn sure that his daughters were not going to have me as a bad example. He was going to make sure that they only had good examples.
Okay, and so did he tell you what he meant by good examples, or of people to have around daughters?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for him is that he wants the girls to have women in their lives that are obviously good role models, that they're not going out and getting drunk or using drugs, and that are just good people, and when I behave that way, that's not the value that we're upholding. Okay,
so you value your relationship with your girls.
Yeah, I do.
And so what did you guys what did you tell yourself after you guys had that conversation?
Well, it was kind of more of a mutual thing. I didn't tell myself a whole lot of anything. I had one heck of a headache, let me tell you. But my husband and I talked, and we decided that when the girls were going to come see me, I was going to be sure that I hadn't been drinking at all, and that I wasn't going to be hungover or still drunk or anything like that. That I was just going to make sure I was sober and really ready to be taking care of the girls.
Okay, so you guys agreed that you were going to be not drink.
Yeah. Yes.
Or that you were going to be sober
yes.
and a good example.
Yes.
And take care of the kids properly.
Yes.
Like how he wants you and how you believe that
Yes.
you want to take care of your children as well.
Absolutely.
So, but then something happened, and just recently, you had another situation that happened with you and your girls.
Yeah.
So where you had passed out and had a wine bottle found next to you, and the girls were unattended in the other room, and your husband came and saw that and wanted to give you an evaluation. And what did you tell yourself at that point?
Oh, before this, well, you know, when he brought this to my attention, that, I mean, between Christmas and now, you know, just last week, I mean, I'd been doing really well with the not drinking, and you know, I you know, he was right, you know, I mean, I obviously need help, I obviously do, so,
So you believe that you need help with not drinking?
yes.
Okay, because you've noticed since Christmas and this last time that you've had some, you know, you've made some agreements with your husband and yourself, and you weren't able to keep to that agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, and so, but you're concerned that your drinking is going to cause you to lose custody of your children.
Oh yeah, and you know, I mean, they're just so important to me that not having them in my life would be devastating.
Okay, so let me try to summarize this and let me make sure I have this right.
Okay.
Okay, so 6 months ago, before the Christmas party, you decided to try some sangria out, and you know, you felt, you know, comfortable taking a taste, and then comfortable with 2 drinks, and then it turned into 6 or 7, and then so your original intent was just to have the 2, and then you ended up having way more than you intended to, and the negative consequence for that was that you woke up the next day covered in vomit with a horrible headache, and your husband came, and you know, and your children were there, and your children and your husband saw you in that state, and it was mortifying for you, and you were really sad about that, and so, and you really value your relationship with your children, and even your ex-husband, you value your relationship, and so you're feeling just really desperate and devastated about this whole thing. And you guys had the agreement that you weren't going to drink, and that you were going to you know, be a good role model for your girls, but you know, and you made that agreement 6 months ago, but just recently you had another situation where you were found passed out drunk in the living room, and your children were in the other room unattended, and so you weren't able to keep to your agreement, and that situation happened, and he threatened to take your parental rights from you, or your custody of your children. But that time, your original intent was to not have anything to drink, but then you drank a bottle of wine, and so, and then the negative consequence that happened was that it caused you to have an argument with your husband, who says that he might take custody of your children. And you love your children, you value your relationship with your children and your family, and so you're feeling very, you know, willing and, you know, so, but, and then, you know, overall you are concerned that your drinking is not only affecting your relationship with your children, but also with your children's father as well.
Yes.
Okay.